Good morning, folks, or actually, it is afternoon. I'm Grant, and you have joined my channel, Seriously Nick. A lot of stuff to cover in a very short amount of time. I don't want to waste your time, so let's get right into it.
Hey, I think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something. Hey, I think you're really cool. I like you a lot. Maybe we can hang out or something.
Okay, so this little episode is going to be possibly titled Shit Hit the Fan versus Prepper. And this is really in direct response to the recent shoot down and the need to shoot down Chinese balloons and probably UAVs over Montana, Yukon, and I believe the Alaskan one was another balloon. One of the things that if you read the reports of what is going on, hey, you can see me in the background on that big monitor that's never on, is that these things were going unnoticed because they had the sensitivity of the software, the radar, skin, I don't even know if it was skin paint, and NORAD turned way down because they're getting way too many false pings, which may or may not have actually been false in retrospect. Sorry about waving you around. I'm holding this thing on a handheld tripod and trying to get it at the right angle, and so I don't look like I'm dead because of the lighting. In any case, I assure you I'm not dead. A couple of things that have really crossed my mind, especially after I did the review on that Abri AR 869, and I was so concerned about it being out of band on the what was it, 350 to 368 or something megahertz, or 380 megahertz, and that kind of goes into my spiel with the Chinese balloons and UAVs. A lot of times the SHTF shit hit the fan and prepper is kind of commingled as if it means the same thing, but in my mind it can be very similar and related, but is the farthest thing from the same thing. In my experience, that whatever it is, which may be none, STFH, or SHTF rather, deals with like a complete, the grid is down, okay, communications when there is no grid, okay, and that would be good for a little while, but really what you need to start thinking about, in my humble yet accurate opinion, is the grid went down. There's a reason it went down, and that's just the beginning. Communications, things of that nature, trying to find people, trying to get people together, trying to do whatever. I can assure you that if somebody takes down our grid, the very next action will be a hostile force that you're dealing with, and then you need to immediately revert, or at the same time remember, while you're SHTFing your backside off, that you also need to realize that there's somebody coming in along behind them. After all this events happen, that the grid goes down and you're resorting to Baofeng UV5Rs or Abris or whatever the case may be, there's going to be somebody listening. Okay? And one of the things that I constantly hear, and I've from time to time been, I make fun of it, when I said that the thing output 100 watts when it actually states that it does 10. In a true prepper or a SHTF situation, you need as low a power output and still have connectivity, and you can reach people that you need to reach in a method that you need to reach them with the radios. And that's going to be more based on antenna. Okay, and you probably shouldn't be doing a whole bunch of changing their environment. That gets into a whole bunch of different areas, like these overflights. They could be very easily be synthetic aperture radar and mapping the ground, and they can see and distinguish individual footprints and what kind of shoe it was. They can distinguish from outer in orbit. Okay, not just from the balloons, but in orbit they can do this. State actors have unlimited funds, and they can do a lot of crazy things. And then when you start mixing in lasers and things like that to measure distance from the surface and stuff like that, there's the algorithms that they can put in place they can tell, is what I'm telling you. So if you're going to have a tower that you're going to erect, I would recommend that you have a pretty good satellite plan where you're aware of satellite coverage and what's coming over the horizon when the satellite horizon is, and plan for that. I would do nothing that would draw attention to yourself, and use some proper cover and concealment. But we're talking about communication. The first thing is to stay off the freaking radio. Okay? The last thing in the world you need to do is start ripping out and just, number one, overwhelming the different bands. If it's necessary, yes, but if it's unnecessary and it's just, hey, Jim Bob, no. I would also not advertise what you do or do not have of anything. I believe that some of the things that could be a direct result, I'm going to come over this way so it's a little bit better lighting, more head-on lighting, a direct result of these incursions to our sovereign airspace. The Chinese aren't stupid. They knew what they were doing. Okay? They know exactly what they were doing, and there's a reason that they were doing it. Some of the things that I would encourage you to do is start doing some search and research, and start looking at directional antennas versus regular antennas. Regular antennas propagate the signal in big concentric circles. If you have a radio, you need to understand this. More directional antennas, even if you use like a Yagi or something like that, where it's directed towards, down a boulevard with high rises, down a valley, trees on both sides, so that it just propagates straight down to your next person. Directional antennas, even some of those crazy things that you see where they've made them out of discs of copper that are basically a Yagi, but they're for a different frequency. Two things that you need to consider. When I said that about the ABRI 869 being able to transmit out of band, you need to decide whether you want to transmit, if you have to transmit, with a bunch of people transmitting on the same frequency, because it's almost impossible to find one person transmitting when they're people all over in your grid transmitting. Yeah, it's almost impossible. So there's that thought. But stepping all over each other, finding an open channel. The other thing is to use a non-standard frequency. And that's where that ABRI 869 may become very useful, or the fact that it has a three different frequencies that it propagates onto at the same time. I spaced the term for it. That may be interesting. Okay. Some of the other things that I think that you should, they have now turned up the sensitivity on the radars all over NORAD, all over North America. If you think that they haven't turned up the sensitivity on recording devices for radio waves, you're mistaken. So while it may not be a big deal right now, you need to understand that they are turning up their sensitivity on all these receptors, and you need to plan accordingly. Some of the things that you might want to think about is to move. Constantly be moving. If you're going to hit the lightning button on the side of the radio, you need to not be in the same place every time you do it. And you need to be not standing still or non-moving when you are doing it. And you need to be in a herd, so you're hard to separate out from all the other possibles. You need to have and understand and follow a complete, well-versed comm plan. And that means that if you're going to use obscure frequencies, this could mean if you're going to use non-standard frequencies, that you have one word codes, that you use one word communication that means a lot of different things, or a specific thing that could be a paragraph but is said in one word. Like if you said purple, that could mean this is a rally point, this is a place where you're going to get together. It could also mean this is a frequency that you want people to shift to. It could also mean you need help. You need to have a comm plan and have it followed rigorously, and have everybody who's involved in it, so that you don't have some chucklehead on the air saying, "Hey Jim Bob, what frequency is that? My radio says we're on this." Now, if they can't follow the frequency plan in the comm package, they need not have a radio. Okay, or they need not be part of your plan to survive, whatever that is. You need to, with the comm package, you need to have set times that you're going to communicate. You need to have frequency offsets, code, a phrase that alerts people to move to a different channel without saying, "Hey, Jim that lives at on this with whose wife is this and his son is this," and without all that being announced. Hey, move to this frequency with the frequency being unnamed, and have it a random frequency, or you could even have it in a crowded frequency. Having the frequency plan and the comm plan with signal intelligence being on minimum. Okay, I forget the phrase for that, where signal, they're not gaining any intelligence on you by your communications. You need to be on MCOM, reduced signature, and you need not be doing things out of the ordinary that would make you stick out. And I'm not talking about doing something that's illegal. If you're taking this as doing something that's illegal or that is against the government or anything stupid like, no, that's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that I believe China's not stupid. They're desperate. There's a lot of things that are going wrong in their world right now, and when people who have absolute power feel like that their absolute power is being threatened, they react poorly. Also start watching the news, and if everybody is running to the left, you need to start looking to the right, because the news is not your friend. And what else is happening out there in the world, and pay attention. One last thing is you need to have your cell phone in a Faraday bag. Okay, they're available on Amazon, and you need to keep it there. Okay, there's one thing that will pinpoint your location quicker than anything is your cell phone, and you need to start learning to live without it. Now, there's a term for that where you could use it. It puts you at risk. It's either term, I've heard it called whaling or porpoising, and that's where your cell phone is turned off, and inside, this is the important part, inside a Faraday bag, because they can turn the phone back on without you knowing it, without your screen being lit, without anything. Inside a Faraday bag, they cannot communicate with it to do these things. And one thing that you should know about emails and communications, texts and stuff like that, is that it can be sent to your device and your device not pick them up different times in different locations, that you know that you'd have quick access to a cell phone tower, but you'd not stand out visibly. You're electronically going to stand out immediately, is turn the device on and pull your text messages and throw it back in the bag. And you may want to find a bag that's got a clear front on it so that you can read text messages and emails that have been downloaded to your device and not have the device connected to the I would have it either off or in airplane mode and in a Faraday bag. So these are some kind of different things that you need to think about, and think about your designation as shit hit the fan or prepper. While they do kind of overlap, and they're kind of elongated overlapping each other, they're not exactly the same, and that you can you can quickly have to switch from one to the other, and you need to be prepared to fluidly move from one to the other, and do it without drawing a lot of attention to yourself and the rest of the people that you hold dear to your heart. So I'm going to fine-tune these a little bit and maybe do a series on protecting yourself and the different ways that this needs to happen for your own protection. And not in any way, shape, or form am I suggesting anything at all to do with anything illegal or against our government or anything that is nefarious in any way, shape, or form. If you're hearing that, you're not hearing what I'm saying. So thanks for stopping by. I needed to drop this out and get people thinking. Okay, instead of trying to crank that sucker out on the max wattage on that little HT so that you can, talk to Europe on your HT via repeaters or whatever, let's think about getting clear, concise, low intercept communications from point A to point B and survive if there's ever an incident. And I think that needs to be the bigger issue that people need to wrap their mind around and come to solutions. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, maybe give me a follow, maybe give me a subscribe. If you don't like anything I do, which is fair, hit the dislike button twice. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.